Welcome to today's deep dive. I want you to picture something for just a second. Think about the last time you opened, like, the map application on your phone.
Right, yeah, we all do it pretty much constantly.
Exactly. So you're standing on a street corner, maybe in a city you really don't know well, and you look down at the screen, and there's this profound, almost subconscious sense of comfort when you see that little, pulsing blue dot.
It's so true. It tells you exactly where you are in the world.
Yeah, your longitude, latitude, whether you're heading north or heading south, it is mathematically incredibly precise. You are physically right here.
And as human beings, we really rely heavily on that.
We do. We genuinely crave that level of certainty. Like, we love knowing our exact coordinates.
It's an anchor.
Hmm.
And, we naturally conflate that physical coordinate with our psychological state. We just sort of assume that if we have a physical address, if the GPS knows where we are, then we are inherently grounded.
Right. But then you think about your actual lived experience, your emotional life. Think about the feeling of belonging, or conversely, the feeling of being totally hopelessly adrift.
Which is a very different kind of map.
Completely. Suddenly, that incredibly precise little blue dot on your phone is absolutely useless. You can be standing perfectly still in your own kitchen, exactly where the GPS says you belong, but emotionally, you are drifting a million miles an hour through deep space.
With no anchor whatsoever.
Exactly.
Which is a terrifying realization for most people, honestly. That disparity between where our bodies are and where our minds are just, well, wondering.
And that exact disparity is what we are digging into today. We are exploring this feeling through a really profound piece of source material. We're looking at the lyrics to Amistat's song, Like Home.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of writing.
It really is. And we aren't just reading a poem today. We are using this song to map a journey. We're tracking the ultimate human transition from a state of chronic, exhausting restlessness to finding an absolute, undeniable grounding in another person.
It's really about discovering where your emotional blue dot actually is.
Yes. Perfect way to put it.
And setting the stage for this. What's fascinating about these lyrics is how much heavy lifting they do with very few words. You're going to see a constant push and pull between two extremes.
The cosmic versus the intimate, right?
Exactly. The massive scale of the universe versus the incredibly intimate scale of a single relationship. There's this constant tension between perpetual motion and sudden, jarring stillness.
Which is just so relatable.
Right. These aren't just clever songwriting tricks. They are direct mirrors for how we all navigate connection, anxiety, and belonging in the modern world.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can truly understand what it means to find this metaphorical home, we first have to dissect the state of being completely adrift.
Which the song does immediately.
It really does. That is exactly how the song opens. We are introduced to this restless wanderer right out of the gate with these lines. It says, "Spend my whole life chasing constellations and then wishing on stars to never stay."
Such powerful imagery right there.
Yeah. And when I read that, the first thing that hit me was the absolute exhaustion of it. It feels like the ultimate poetic expression of modern FOMO, the fear of missing out.
How so? Connect that to the modern experience for us.
Well, think about hustle culture, or like the pressure to have this perfectly curated nomadic lifestyle we see all over social media. It's like being on a perpetual treadmill.
Oh, absolutely. The endless scrolling.
Right. You are constantly seeking the next big thing, the next horizon, the next city, the next promotion. And why? Because you are quietly terrified that wherever you are right now, whatever you are doing right now, just isn't good enough.
You're perpetually chasing.
Exactly. You never actually arrive.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. And look at what they are actually chasing in the text constellations. What's fascinating here is that a constellation isn't even a real, tangible object.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, it's a human projection. It's just us looking up at random balls of gas burning billions of miles apart and, drawing an imaginary line between them.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so the pursuit of chasing constellations implies a pursuit of something inherently untouchable. It's impossibly distant and largely fabricated.
That is wild.
You can navigate by the stars, certainly, but you can never actually catch them. It is an exercise in endless, guaranteed failure.
See, that makes me want to pause and look closer at the very next line. Wishing on stars to never stay. Wait, Wishing to never stay.
It's a complete inversion of what you'd expect.
Right. When you wish on a star, usually you're wishing for a destination. You're wishing for true love or wealth or like a house with a white picket fence. You're wishing to arrive.
But here they want the opposite.
Exactly. This person is actively wishing for impermanence. Are they just suffering from an insatiable curiosity about the world, or is this actually a profound form of self-sabotage?
That's the real question.
Because if you are wishing to never stay anywhere, you are guaranteeing that you will never build anything lasting.
Exactly. It completely inverts the cultural trope of wishing on a star. And to answer your question, yes, it functions as an evasion tactic.
An evasion tactic.
Yeah. The wandering isn't actually about discovering the world. It is a highly romanticized way of hiding from it.
Hiding from what, though?
From vulnerability. From the messy, difficult reality of putting down roots. If you never stay, you never have to be truly seen by anyone.
Oh, man. That hits hard.
Right. You never have to deal with the friction of a long-term relationship or the disappointment of a community letting you down. You just get to remain this mysterious kinetic force.
Always moving, never settling.
Exactly. And the song is establishing a profound momentum here by showing us a person who has spent their whole life cultivating this massive, evasive velocity.
We realize how hard it's going to be to stop them.
Precisely. We realize just how much gravitational force is going to be required to finally bring them to a halt.
And that halt happens so abruptly. We go from this frantic, exhausting energy of chasing the entire cosmos to a totally contrasting force in a single breath. The lyrics pivot. They say, but then I found you in the stillness and I stopped running away.
It's a massive shift in tone.
Huge. Here's where it gets really interesting. To make this visceral for you listening, I want you to think about the loudest, most chaotic environment you can imagine.
Like a concert or something.
Yeah, or maybe you're standing in a subway station at rush hour, trains are screeching, people are shouting, the noise is just bouncing off the concrete, and you are literally tensing your jaw.
Just hiking your shoulders up to endure it.
Right, we've all been there. It's a sensory assault.
Right.
And then you take a pair of high-end noise-canceling headphones, you put them over your ears, and you switch them on.
Oh, that feeling is amazing.
It is. There is that instant, shocking click. It's a sudden vacuum. All that roar just disappears, and you are left with this profound, almost startling silence.
It's jarring, but in a good way.
And the crazy thing is, you didn't even fully realize the sheer volume of the noise you were enduring until the exact second it was removed.
That is exactly how this stillness feels in the song.
It's just a complete reset.
Yes, and to take that a step further, think about the psychological weight of the words stopped in that line.
Okay, yeah.
We are transitioning violently from the external, infinite scale of stars and endless movement to the internal, highly intimate scale of stillness. And I stopped running away.
Because up until then, it was all about motion.
Right. Up until this moment, the speaker framed their movement as an ambitious pursuit. They were chasing things. And chasing sounds romantic. It sounds adventurous.
Yeah, chasing makes you sound like an explorer. It's a really great story to tell yourself.
But the moment they encounter the stillness, the self-deception completely falls away. They admit that they weren't just exploring, they were actively evading. They were running away.
Wow. That's a huge admission.
It is. And why do human beings run away?
Because we're scared. Because something is chasing us.
Precisely. We run when we don't feel safe. Finding this specific person, encountering this profound, noise-canceling stillness, provided the precise psychological safety that was required to finally drop the defenses.
Because you can't rest if you're in danger.
Exactly. You don't stop running away unless you suddenly feel safe enough to close your eyes and rest.
So once that running stops and that vacuum of silence sets in, you're faced with a terrifying new reality. You actually have to inhabit the space you're in.
You can't just escape anymore.
Right. You can't just sprint to the next distraction. And that's exactly the paradigm shift the song tackles next. It moves into the chorus, which is like the emotional core of the whole piece.
Well, you feel like home section.
Yeah. It goes, you feel like home to me. You're everywhere, everything I breathe, everything I need. Now, I have to be honest here.
Uh-oh. What's the hesitation?
Well, when I really look at those words, you're everywhere, everything I breathe, my initial reaction is, wait, is this healthy?
I see where you're going.
Right, like, isn't that crossing the line into toxic codependency? To make another human being the literal air in your lungs.
It does sound intense.
How does this not end with them completely suffocating each other?
That is a really common and totally valid reaction to language this intense. I mean, in a lot of romantic narratives, that kind of enmeshment is a major red flag.
A huge red flag.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, let's look at the psychological mechanism at play here, rather than just taking it at face value. Are you familiar with attachment theory?
Broadly